Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 98 of the TV Knitting Podcast. Hi, my name is Sharon, also known as Stitch Mistress, pretty much everywhere on the internet. And on Instagram, I am TV Knitting Stitch Mistress. So, welcome to all new YouTube subscribers. I got a lot of subscribers this week. And I'm super excited about that. And thank you so much, Susan B. Anderson, for mentioning me on your blog. And I really enjoyed reading your blog and the good time that you had teaching and with your hubby coming to New York with you. That was fun to read. So again, thanks for mentioning my show. So I have a prize thread and I will be announcing the prize winner a little bit later because I'm going to draw for it a little bit later. I'll pause the recording and draw. And thank you for all of you who talked about the show in the thread and how much you enjoyed the show and how you're catching up with older episodes. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. So since I have so many new listeners, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about myself. And I'll kind of split it up into 3 episodes so it doesn't get boring. I won't be bored because I'm talking about me, but you might get bored. So anyway, my name is Sharon and I grew up in upstate New York, in Syracuse, New York. And I moved to the Hudson Valley region near Poughkeepsie in 1980. And I've lived here ever since. I call the Hudson Valley region my home. I live right near Rhinebeck, New York, which is really awesome. I love living near Rhinebeck. I've taught there in the past. It's great. I have a master's degree in speech language pathology, and I work as a speech language pathologist in a local elementary school. And I've done that for a long time. I've worked in the field it'll be 36 years this year. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And I've been in the same district for 33 years. So getting ready to retire at some point. I'm not quite ready yet, but when I retire, who knows what'll be on the horizon, possibly a second career. So we'll see. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I am married. I share my home with my wonderful husband and 2 adult children. My daughter's 23, graduated this year from college. She's a software engineer and she works for IBM in town. And my son is currently in school, so he's 20. So yeah, we're enjoying our lives here in the Hudson Valley. Love it here. I briefly thought about moving to Florida. I have since changed my mind. Because what am I going to do in Florida with all my knitwear, right? Not that people in Florida can't wear knits. I know they can. I know Bella Socks. Hi, Eileen. I know Eileen wears her hand knits. I saw some pictures on Instagram today when the temperature got to be 40 some odd degrees. I know that's a culture shock for you guys in Florida. So anyway, I digress. Let's get on with the show. So let me talk a little bit about what I've been knitting this week. I finished my sweater just about. I have the back done. This is an Amy Herzog pattern from her website, Custom Fit. This is the back. This is the front. And I put a little lace detailing in here. So it actually carried all the way up toward the shoulder line. So I'm sure that will look great once I seam it up. And this week I cast on for the sleeves and I knit them 2 at a time because I figured I'd get it done faster that way, and I did. So I am almost finished with the sleeves. And this sweater is knit in pieces, as Amy Herzog recommends. She recommends you knit all your sweaters in pieces, even though you can knit the sweater partially in the round if you want to. I choose not to. I actually like the structure that the seams provide for me. So, yeah. Anyway, I think it's coming out great. The yarn is Malabrigo Sock in the Botticelli Red colorway. It is a fingering weight yarn, and yeah, it takes some time to complete a fingering weight sweater, but that's fine. Anyway, so I am just about done. This week I should finish. I'm hoping to finish by tomorrow, and I will start seaming it up. And this is part of the Make Two Along that Tiny Paper Foxes podcast is holding. So I'm also making a skirt, and I will show you that later. So I'm very pleased with that project. Next, the only other thing I've worked on this week or the last 2 weeks is socks. So my husband was injured last August and hasn't been at work since then, and he started back to work this week. He's fine. He's doing very, very well. And the injury is healed. He needed some surgery, but he's doing great. So my husband and I work in the same building, so we commute together. And I get a lot of knitting time during our commute because we commute about half an hour each way. So that's an hour knitting time that I lost when he was out. So I like to knit socks on my commute, and super pretty. These are Gail's Art Sock Blank. I love it. Love knitting from sock blanks. This is the Double Secret Sock Blank in Blockhead. The Blockhead is the colorway. And this is how they're knitting up. And I love it because they match. I don't mind if my socks don't match. That doesn't bother me, but it's kind of fun to have them match somewhat. Knitting them 2 at a time, because you have to with these unless you take it out and have a big mess to wind it. So it actually gets a little tangly. 2 strands come off the sock blank. It gets a little tangly, so you have to constantly turn this, but it's fine. So I've been enjoying that. Let's see. I wouldn't say I'm halfway up the leg because I like a 6-inch cuff, but I'm probably a little past a quarter up the leg, so we'll see. Okay, so the next pair of socks I want to show you is socks that I knit on the train last week to Vogue Knitting Live. And if you haven't seen my Vogue Knitting Live recap, it's up. It's the episode just before this, 97.2.0. And this is another sock blank by Gail's Art. And I am only about a half an inch up the leg, but that's completely fine. This is one at a time. It's a single sock blank, and this is one of her extreme sock blanks. Really beautiful. Just a work of art. And I love these. Love, love, love. If you get a chance to buy one, get one. She's got them readily available. A lot of times she has pre-orders of these. But what's interesting about this one is that the colors on the blank are so vibrant, and then the colors on the sock come out kind of muted. And it's cool because if you can see, the colors on the back don't go all the way through, just like this blue will go all the way through. But the bright colors from the front don't go all the way through the sock. So the sock ends up being very muted when you knit it up, which is awesome. I think it looks super pretty. So I'm having a great time knitting on all of these socks. Super fun. Love it. All right. One other thing. So I knit on socks in the morning in my 30-minute commute. And I've been trying now to knit on barn raising squares during my afternoon commute. And I actually got some good progress on this one. And this is Leading Men Fiber Arts in the Fox Says What colorway. And I absolutely love it. I think it's beautiful. And the camera won't show this, but the dye job on this yarn is lovely. I can't even describe to you how subtle the shadings are, especially on the reds and even on the grays. This is beautiful yarn, and I'm going to have to pick up some more of his colorways because beautiful, gorgeous. So I'm really enjoying knitting on that, and I've been practicing continental knitting, and it's going okay. We'll see. I'm a thrower, but I always want to learn new ways to knit, and yeah, for the past maybe 6 rows or so, I've been using continental knitting, and it's just stockinette in the round, so it's easy. I don't have to do any purling, and it's, yeah, my gauge seems okay, and it's going well. Stay tuned. All right, so that's everything I've been working on. Like I said, the sweater has been my main focus. All right, so stash enhancement. I received the most beautiful skein, oh, look at that, in the mail this week. This is Vine Yarns in her narwhal base, and the colorway is Moondrop. And this is a true, these lights are showing up some nice true colors, so it's beautiful. I'm in love with this skein, and what's special about it for me is that it's a very different base than I've ever come across or seen. It is 70% superwash Blueface luster, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. So instead of a merino cashmere silk, it's a BFL cashmere silk, which is amazing. So it just shines. It's got a great sheen to it. I can't wait to knit with it. It's going to have a great hand. It is soft. It's not toothy at all. It's wonderful. I love it. I can't wait to cast this on. And on Kristen's last show, she mentioned that she was designing a shawl in this base, and she asked if there were any test knitters out there who would like to help her out. And I contacted her on Ravelry and said, yes, Kristen, I would love to test knit for you. And she contacted me back and she said yes. So I'm going to be a test knitter for that shawl. I've test knitted for Kristen before, for her shawl Greetings from Pwang, and I love knitting that. So I am very excited about knitting this up in that design. And so far I saw part of it. It's a eyelet pattern on the top of the shawl, and then it will have an applied border, and the eyelet pattern so far looks gorgeous. So I am really excited. Last week, I also received these. These are mini skeins by Knitting and Color, and I love Knitting and Color's yarn. I've been knitting quite a bit of it lately. I knit a barn raising square out of one of her yarns, one of her mini skeins, and I also knit a holiday shawl from mini skeins from Knitting and Color. So I decided I really wanted to get some more minis from her. They are 463 yards. There are 5 minis, and I believe they're about 20 grams per mini, which is perfect for a barn raising square. I actually really only use a little more than half, so I could even make a Cozy Memories blanket out of the rest. Right. When I'm 150, I might finish both of those projects. We'll see. Anyway, these are just beautiful. I mean, look at this blue one. I mean, they're all beautiful. Oh my goodness. This green. I mean, she does neons amazing with black. Oh, just gorgeous. I love her colors because I am 5 and I love bright colors. I also love sparkle. Anyway, great. So I am putting these in my drawstring bag by Knit Spin Farm with all sorts of seasonal beers on it. I love it. And I'm going to put them in this bag, and then when I'm ready to cast on a new barn raising square, I'm just going to reach my hand in this bag and pull out a color, and that will be the color I use. This, I believe, is, hold on, Cyborg's Craft Room. How do you like that? I pulled it right out of my head, and there's no tag. I don't know the colorway, but it was some of her mini skeins. So yeah, so I've got a bunch of beautiful mini skeins in here, and maybe next week, if I finish that barn raising square, I'll pull one out on the show, and you can keep me honest. Because, oh my gosh, I just want to knit all of these. So anyway. All right, so that's it for what came in this week as far as stash. And I am in the process of cataloging how much I knit last year as far as yardage and how much yardage came in. And I think it's going to be less that came in. I don't know. I'll see. I knit about 12,000 yards of yarn last year, which isn't bad. And because I spin as well. I did not do much spinning this week. I will show you next week, I'm hoping. This sweater has taken up all my time. So yeah, so we'll see. I have to figure out how much came in 2015. And I did buy a lot of yarn, so we'll see. We shall see. All right, so that brings us to sewing. And for those of you who are new, I talk about sewing a little bit. I am a very brand new sewist, a rank beginner. I actually did make this bag last year, and I'm really proud of it. I think it came out great. Oh, I forgot to talk about this one. I'll talk about it in a minute. Yeah, I think this bag came out really, really well last year, and I was even more new to it then. And I actually have a little sewing story for you. It's kind of funny. But let me show you this. This is my Christmas Eve cast on. I believe Little Bobbins Knits had a Christmas Eve cast on. And I'm at the heel. I put in a Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I really didn't want to do. I wanted to do an afterthought, but I just was knitting at Knit Group the other night, and I just started knitting a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And halfway through it, I'm like, wait a minute, I wanted to put in an afterthought heel. So I wasn't ripping it out. So I'll have to do some little management for that. Anyway, oh, and this yarn is Desert Vista Dye Works in the Eau Clark colorway, and it is sparkly, which is amazing. Named for the Christmas Vacation movies. Back to sewing. So I told you I was sewing a project for the Make Two Along by Tiny Paper Foxes. Hi, Jenny. And this is it. This is a skirt, and it's a craftsy class. The fabric is cotton and steel. The pattern did call for a cotton, quilter's cotton, and I love the fabric. And the technique I'm trying this time, this is the second time I've made this skirt. The technique I'm trying is matching up the patterns on the side seams. Never did it before. And I'm very directionality challenged when it comes to sewing. Super directionality challenged. I don't know what's up or down or... So the first time I cut this piece out, which is the back, I cut it out upside down. I thought this fabric could go both ways, which I think it can. Here it is upside down. And I mean, these flowers and these ferns go both ways, but it looks better like this. And I think that's how it's meant to go. So I cut out another piece. I had extra fabric. And then initially with the first one, I tried to match up the seams, and that didn't go well. So I realized I had to move the fabric back. So cutting it, I had to cut this on the fold. So I moved the fold down. So I had extra going up and down. I don't know. Again, directionality. And it actually worked. I was able to match the side seams using the tutorial from the Craftsy class. I think it's Garment Basics by Brett Barra is the class I'm taking, or have taken. And this is a side, and this is another side. So all this week I will be sewing this. I've made it before, so I should be able to finish it by Sunday, which is the end of the Make Two Along. And I'm very confident that these will go beautifully together. So here's the fabric, here's the sweater. Yeah, red and black. Can't go wrong. So that's about it. In about 5 seconds, I will be doing the drawing for the Mustache Yarn Prize. Good luck, everyone. I had over 80 entries in the thread, and the random number generator came up with number 64, and that is Folksmith. Congratulations, Folksmith. And that is Karen from Fredonia, New York, and I believe that's upstate, kind of near where I grew up. So congratulations, Karen, and thank you for subscribing on YouTube. And don't despair everybody else who was in the thread, because I'm going to have more prizes, one of which is a $50 Loopy U gift certificate. And when I reach 500 subscribers, I will give away those prizes. So Karen, you have won this gorgeous skein of mustache yarn, and I have to thank Stacy very much from Mustache for donating the skein. All right, so that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a great week. I am going to try and podcast weekly if I can. I'm going to try very hard. And I hope to see you next week. Have a great week. Cheers.